Greetings, my dandelions. Welcome back to Dandelion Yoga's virtual studio. Today I have another yoga hygiene video, and we're going to talk about Shavasana today because I know that this is a big one. So go ahead and grab yourself a cup of tea, come down to your mat, and we will get started. So let's have a chat about Shavasana. Either Shavasana is your absolute favorite pose or it is your absolute nemesis pose. And it depends entirely on why you are doing yoga and the kind of person that you are. So if you are the sort of person who comes to yoga to say that, you've done your 30 minutes of exercise in the slowest way possible, you're probably the sort of person who loves Shavasana. I know that I have several students who, if I ask them, what would you like to do today? Their response will be, can we go into Shavasana for the whole hour? And then on the other hand, you have people who are a little bit more like me. Maybe you're here to help increase your strength and flexibility, or for weight loss purposes, or because you've seen people doing headstands and forearm balances and all sorts of crazy things on Instagram, and you want that to be you. And at the end of the class, you're asked to go into Shavasana, and it's really, really difficult for you to stay there and not turn off the video and then go and do something else. Regardless of what camp you're in, we're going to talk today about why Shavasana is so important and why you need to give it at least 2 minutes of your time every time you come down to your mat. So if you're new to yoga and you're not really sure what I mean when I say Shavasana, Shavasana normally happens right at the end of a practice. It's when you lay down on your back with your palms facing the ceiling, your legs straight out, and your arms kind of out at about 45 degrees. This is normally the part of the practice where your teacher turns the music up a little bit and either leads you through a meditation or leaves you to sit in total silence for a good chunk of time. And like everything in yoga, there are two different functions for our pose. The first function is anatomical, the second function is philosophical. So one has to do with the body, the other has to do with kind of the philosophical nature of yoga. Anatomically, Shavasana is really important because it brings the body all the way back to a perfect anatomical position. So if you think about the way that figures are drawn in your anatomy and physiology books, where they're standing, their palms are facing forward, they're nice and tall, their feet are maybe turned out at 45 degrees. The reason for that is because this is where everything is in its most perfect alignment. Even if you think about just the way that the forearms move, if you have your palms facing down, you've got one bone of the forearm actually crossing over the other bone. So when you come down to Shavasana, you're really unwinding the body, making sure that all of your bones, all of your joints are in their perfect alignment, so that when your muscles cool down, they're cooling down in kind of their optimized form. Okay, so you really should be spending about 2 minutes in Shavasana, preferably a little bit longer, and I'll talk about that in a second, but 2 minutes in Shavasana to actually give your body a chance to cool down in its most perfect form. From a philosophical standpoint, so yoga philosophy, you can take it or leave it as it is. Your Shavasana is all about depriving your body of sensation. So you turn the palms up so that they're not touching the ground. You close your eyes so that you're not distracted by the light. And your entire goal here is to take this opportunity to really slow down the breath, to really increase the inhale and lengthen the exhale. And then over time, the longer that you're in Shavasana, the more subtle that difference becomes between inhale and exhale. And the heartbeat slows. And everything kind of resets itself. You find like this magical reset of the body. So you kind of go into sleep mode a little bit. And sometimes you do actually fall asleep depending on how tired you are. But doing that and depriving your body of sensation and bringing all of your awareness to things like your heartbeat and to your breath also gives your mind the opportunity to begin to unwind and to slow down, and eventually to find a little bit of stillness as well. And it's that when the mind actually finds stillness, where you're in, your optimal Shavasana, that's where the magic of yoga for a lot of people happens. So you get a total reset of mind and body before you get up off your mat and do something else for the day. So if you're like me and you dread the thought of sitting in Shavasana, or more accurately laying in Shavasana while nothing is happening, you may be asking yourself, okay, how long do I actually have to be here? And like a lot of things in yoga, the answer is, it depends. Primarily on how long your practice is. So a good rule of thumb that I was given when I went through my yoga teacher training was that your Shavasana should roughly be about 10% of the length of your practice. So if you are doing asanas for 10 minutes, then you should be in Shavasana for about 1 minute. Okay, so really think about the length of your practice and give your body the opportunity to wind down. Again, if you're doing a 10-minute practice, it doesn't hurt you to sit for 60 seconds. Where it starts to become challenging is when you're doing a practice for an hour and then you have to sit there for 6 minutes and let everything cool down and let the mind still, and to experience that over a length of time. If you're somebody who really struggles with laying still or laying flat on your back, either because something about the position just doesn't resonate with you, or you have a really hard time just shutting your eyes, or whatever the case may be, you have a couple of options, but they aren't necessarily considered as effective from the philosophical standpoint. So the first thing that you can do is curl up on your right side in a fetal position. So tucking your knees close to you, bringing the hands close to you, and sort of laying down on your right side. You don't really get the benefit of the body cooling down in an optimal shape, but you do get some of the benefit of at least giving the mind the opportunity to slow down. Another thing that you can do if you have a hard time closing your eyes or tuning out distractions is to get a little a little eye bag that you can get from yoga shops. You can place them over your eyes. Blindfolds, which is what I was initially trying to say, you can place those over your eyes as well. I have a friend who has a blanket that she uses, that she just pulls over her whole body, and she lays under this blanket and does her Shavasana that way. So try to find ways to make it comfortable and enjoyable for you, so that you can spend that time in Shavasana and really get the most out of it. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope that that gives you a little bit of insight into what Shavasana is and why it is so important for you to incorporate as part of your practice, every single practice, anytime you come onto your mat. And if you liked this video and you have different things, different questions that you would like to ask, or different habits that you have noticed other yoga teachers have that have kind of confused you, let me know. put it in the comments below, and I will see if I can answer those questions, maybe make a video explaining some things and clearing some things up. If you do that, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you press the little notification button so that when I do make a video about your comment, you are notified. At any rate, here is where I leave you for today. So we will bring our hands to our hearts, thumbs to the third eye, reminding you to have kind and loving thoughts, to your lips, reminding you to have kind and loving words, to your heart, reminding you to have kind and loving intentions. Take a moment just to bow in acknowledgement of each other, of yourself today. And then I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.